Fast forward any come our channel so aha AGH Politics Avenue. Podcast source ya training because make headlines. Ne jemre na edibi exomo ewa ha ani die ma ho braxie mu onua yenko yensimu. Se yeko yensimu a na Martin Amidu asoye any remove justice Gertrude Torkor ehu asem ene yeba beka. Na Martin Amidu so beka ya maybe John Dramani Mahama itimi appointee no se ono eneme special prosecutor emfa enyede ema MPP ama yuko no ana Ghana mindpo because special prosecutor office no enya appointee wa o serve o mine no ti papa no hweye onso do kan krepa o hwe keta se hye proye ni ade a adokro eye MPP fo na eja o yese o keka ya bona pampam miano o kasa dodo o de saa de ahomtie ne gi adwuma no to ho na o koye ena Akuffo OSP ediaba na yoma ena Gertrude Torkor nso ho asema ba me na okasai yeyi ma me no efri akunya so na me no okasai papa no de no atum bia enya asem koto akra ni wo kan nyina se Gertrude Torkor no yi wo minim wasi yi pa minim yi pa enti wo no mia wano keep quiet and suffer shut up and suffer yemonwa na so ye abra wajimbre na obo yinchiremu ewo eye channel yiso but asese wajimbre ewo ase yenkwinsimu at this point in time.
Martin Amidu orders CJ Torkornoo to shut up. Martin Amidu orders CJ, in fact former CJ Torkornoo, to shut up. She became the 15th Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. She took over from a man, Eninyeboa, my brother, my sister, who had retired. And she became one of the very few females who rose to that point of calling themselves the Chief Justice. She was called to the Supreme Court somewhere in 2019 as a Supreme Court judge. And then 2 years ago, in 2023, she became the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. When Eninyeboa, the then Chief Justice, had just retired. My brother, my sister, Nana Addo Akuffo was full of energy and hope that this woman was going to be able to carry her duties very, very well. The first thing she did was to run to church and give thanks to Jesus Christ for making her the Chief Justice. Many were those who were in the church singing and dancing to the glory of the Most High. After all, the Bible says, make merry with people who make merry. In other words, rejoice with people who rejoice. They were happy for her. The church was so excited. But some inner wranglings came in. And the fight became so deep. Now, at the time that Gertrude Torkor was made the Chief Justice, in fact, we all were excited that a woman had risen to that point. She wasn't the only woman who had reached there. But for a reason, we were most excited, even though we had come to dislike the Nana Addo Akuffo Addo Bawumia government. The regime was nothing good to write home about. We hated that regime. My brother, my sister, as it stands right now, things happen to this woman. A gentleman called Daniel Ofori decided to go to court. Not just any court, but the apex court of the land, the Supreme Court, in fact. And what was his complaint? Simple. This woman is biased towards me. I don't want her to hear any of my cases. And it was upheld. So Gertrude Torkor was stopped from hearing any case that had to do with Daniel Ofori. In fact, the boss and founder, CEO and director of Whitechapel, an apparel outfit right here in Ghana. At the age of 15, he was already a millionaire. Daniel Ofori succeeded in getting Gertrude Torkor sidelined when it came to hearing his cases. And when he heard that the same woman had risen to the Chief Justice, I think the best thing Gertrude Torkor should have done was to invite Daniel Ofori over to say, listen, we have had some bad days and all that, but right now, I think we should put aside all these things and rise higher. She didn't know that there was a silent storm brewing. My brother, my sister. But there was a man, a lawyer, who was not happy about the appointments to the position of the CJ by Nana Addo Dankwa Akuffo Addo. My brother, my sister, and you know what happened? He held his peace until now. Who are we talking about? My brother, my sister. You know who we are talking about? He said Nana Addo Dankwa Akuffo Addo was in fact appointing babies as chief justices. This is the man. We all know who he is. And watch this story from Ghana. Akuffo Addo appointed babies as chief justice. This is Ansah Asare. My brother, my sister, Kweku Ansah Asare. It says a former director of the Ghana Law School, Kweku Ansah Asare, has accused former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akuffo Addo of breaching constitutional conventions in the appointment of chief justices during his tenure. According to Ansah Asare, the former president overlooked the established practice of allowing the most senior justice to act as chief justice whenever a vacancy arose. Instead, he claimed Akuffo Addo bypassed senior members of the judiciary and elevated relatively junior judges to the highest office of the judiciary. The then president threw away the constitution, which stipulates that when there is a vacancy, the most senior must act, he said. He further described some of the appointments as elevating babies to the prestigious role of the Chief Justice. Ansah Asare made these remarks whilst reacting to the recent appointment of Justice Paul Bafubone as Chief Justice. He shared his views on the Citizen Show, hosted by Kwabena Bobie Ansah on Accra 100.5 FM on Tuesday. That's yesterday, September the 23rd, 2025. In contrast, he commended President John Dramani Mahama for adhering to the constitutional practice by maintaining the tradition of appointing the most senior justice at the Supreme Court to act as Chief Justice anytime there is a vacancy. Oh, wow. So this is Ansah Asare, the former lecturer and director of the Ghana Law School. He said Nana Addo forced mangoes to ripe. He put in babies with sharp teeth as appointed chief justices. It looks like Ansah Asare might be right. It looks like he has hit the nail right on the head. Was that why Gertrude Torkor made a few errors left, right, and center? Was that why she abused her office, traveled around and blew the country's money on her family, decided to go against standard norms? A committee sits, comes with a conclusion, she overturns that and goes her own way. She is the supremo, better than the committee, as we were told. My brother, my sister. But Amidu has also spoken. He's kept his silence for so long. He is a man who is well respected in the legal profession. He is a senior. He's more than just matured. He has spoken finally. What has he said? He wants Torkornoo to shut up. Amidu breaks silence on removal of Gertrude Torkor. Run it, my youths. And watch this. Former special prosecutor Martin Amidu has stated that former Chief Justice Gertrude Torkor was lawfully removed from office on September 1, 2025 as both Chief Justice and Justice of the Supreme Court. Amidu has dismissed Torkornoo's legal challenge as inconsistent with established constitutional law, pointing to the Supreme Court's landmark decision in a Gertrude versus Attorney General and Akuffo 2025-2026 ruling. Now, the removal of the Chief Justice pursuant to Articles 1, 4, 6, 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is conterminous with the removal of the Chief Justice as a Justice of the Superior Court under Articles 146 of the 1992 Constitution, he argued in a statement on September 22, 2025. Dash it away. It's the same thing lawyer Thaddeus Sori is saying. And remember, we carried the story a few days ago. It looks like the Chief Justice has become so desperate. It looks like the former Chief Justice has regretted her act of sidelining a certain plea deal that she was supposed to have with the President of the Republic of Ghana, as we were told by people like Amalaba. My brother, my sister, what was the deal like? The former Chief Justice spoke with the President of the Republic. Well, I see that people want to remove me. I see the petition is coming. Many more people are coming in. I think that I will leave. And it was agreed that if she decided to resign on her own, she will resign on her salary and other benefits. But her lawyers seemingly told her that she had a case. It was time to go to court and embarrass the government and flex legal muscles. Unfortunately, everything fell flat to the ground. Now she has been sacked with no benefits. She would go home with no fowl for Christmas. All the Christmas lights are dim. And tomorrow when she decides to fly to Tanzania, she might go in the economy class where I always sit. And if I happen to sit with her in the economy class, I will have a beautiful conversation with her. As to what that conversation would be, I don't know, but I know it will be beautiful. My brother, my sister, many people are surprised that Martin Amidu, who is a critic of John Dramani Mahama, who Mahama himself had called a coward before, has come out to support a very dicey situation that many people think it was pure witch hunting to kick out the Chief Justice. But as it stands right now, it looks like even the so-called enemies of Mahama are supporting him. Kwaku Ansah himself has been a critic of this government, but he has also come out to say that Gertrude Torkor was a baby with sharp teeth in the world of law. There were more senior compatriots who should have been appointed. But for one reason or the other, she got herself there. What do you think about what Martin Amidu is saying? What do you think is going on? This is the Black Pot, a.k.a. Kukushodemo.
France and Russia. Now, each of these blocs have their own interests. Remember, Mandela was saying something that it's not every nation that wishes Africa well. And it is something that we need to understand. But I'll also bring in a story, my personal story, why I'm sitting here, why most Ghanaians who have lived abroad, like myself, need to come home and help. One day I was going somewhere, I had been in a hotel, and there was this white guy who, and I'm not saying that to categorize white people, because people are always people. Some will be good, some will be bad, some will be in between. It doesn't matter the color or the shape. Now, this guy I met in the morning, I said good morning, he didn't respond. And the way he looked at me, you know, kind of trying to see you in a different way. You know what I mean? Then we started a conference. And that was the same guy sitting in front of, you know, the whole auditorium, listening to me attentively and taking notes. And I was delivering on leadership, which is my specialty. So he was taking a lot of notes. And then when we finished the session, he came to me and then started asking me questions. So here am I asking the question to myself that this guy is feeding on my hand. But he disrespected me in the morning. Just because he felt maybe because of my color, I am nothing. But now he's here listening to me and taking notes from me. So I learned a lesson from it. If you are an individual, you will only be respected if your country is respected. Once your country loses respect, you as an individual, you don't have any respect anywhere you go. And that is why it is prudent for our leaders to talk for a country. It is prudent for all of us to be nationalistic, because without your country, you are nothing. Now, let me come back to the United Nations, the Security Council. 5 of them have veto powers. They are permanent members. And then we have 10 non-permanent members who are elected for 2-year terms at the General Assembly. So if you are a non-permanent member, 10 of them, you are elected for 2 years, then they bring another one. Why? It serves their interest, because they are permanent, they have the veto powers, they make decisions. So US, all they have to do is to lobby either France or UK, and then they are 3 against 2, which is Russia and China. And then they can go through the veto powers and do whatever they want to do. Now, if they allow Africa in, if they allow other countries in, how are they going to be able to manipulate that? So every country is serving their interest. They all have permanent interests. They don't have permanent friends. So let's look at by 2026 now, the 5 new members. We have Denmark, Greece, Pakistan, Panama, and Somalia. So they have split Africa apart. We have Somalia, which is an African country, as a non-permanent member, but we don't have the whole of Africa. So this is how we have to go. Either the whole African Union, the chair of the African Union is representing Africa. So we have to go with blocks, not as individual countries. Because if we don't have a common voice and a uniform front, then there's going to be that colonial style, divide and rule. So we need to go with that common front. Then 2025, they had Algeria. So they will pick one African country that they think is easy to, come along as non-permanent members, and then go with their permanent members. So always America have that interest. Now I am coming to our president, what he said. I think that he did well by showcasing Ghana to the world about what the reset agenda. He talked about the inflation that has gone down. He talked about the city that has risen. He criticized global financial systems bias against Africa and called for that reparations. Now, the reparation issue, I have attended a lot of conferences that people have asked me about it, and there are different thoughts, divided thoughts about reparation. Some of these advanced countries in US and Europe are saying that we did not start slavery. So it was our forefathers. So why do we have to pay for the sins of our forefathers? We now embrace Africans everywhere that they come. So we don't have the financial strength to pay Africa back. But I think that if you look at the torture that our people went through, recently Trump has ordered an executive order that all slavery materials, you go to museums and you see a black person whose back is all salt, monuments should be removed from American museums because it tells a bad picture. I'm also telling Americans that anybody who wants to be a citizen in America, there are 100 questions you have to answer. Now, one of the questions is which people came here as slaves. They should remove it from the Homeland Security questions, because everybody in America comes from somewhere. It's an immigrant, apart from the native Indians. But why should it be there that it is only these people who came here as slaves? So there are many things hidden in books that tells our story not in the right way. And it is up to us to tell our own story, because nobody's going to tell our story for us. And that is exactly what the president did. I think that migration was a very thorny issue that he talked about. And he cited Ghanaian attorney, a lady whose parents are from Ghana and what they are doing, and a lot of Ghanaians who are doing well. Now I'm told that there is a Ghanaian who is married to the vice president of Malawi now. Malawi current vice president, a lady, she's married to one Mr. Ansa, a lawyer from Ghana. So Ghanaians are doing well wherever they find themselves, which is great. And I think that he made a strong case for Africa, that we need our support. And the last thing that I will talk about was the Gaza conflict. That conflict has lingered for so long. And if you look at innocent women and children that have died from this, the United Nations need to stand up and then stop it once and for all.
Just quick follow-ups on some of the issues you talked about. First, on the reforms at the Security Council. I mean, there are those who make the argument that it's just a reflection of the world order, and the explanation will be that those are the countries that keep the global economy running, largely in terms of support. It's these days that even the US aids have gone down and everything. So, I mean, more or less, if we are doing contribution, it's not one man, one vote in terms of contribution. So why should it be one man, one vote?
So thank you for that question. America is just 4% of the world population. But America consumes 20% of the world resources, which is 1/5 of it. Ask where they get their resources from Africa. So Africa is the only continent that we don't need the rest of the other continent to survive. We have everything here. Just that we've not reached the level where we can process things and do things for ourselves. Do you know just petroleum product, different resources of, that you can get from it? Do you know even salt has 18 different uses? If we can process our own products, then Africa will be good to go.
Okay.
And we'll get the respect that we're looking for. So when it comes to contribution, if you go to just Congo and look at, they call it the basket of world resources, everything, lithium, gold, manganese, diamond. So Africa is...
We ain't some who team course or channel so one master so Jim Ewaha, the Senate so bad, and they are dumpy a domain. Essentially, near some year, GH Politics Avenue.